What's up, team? Welcome to the Huddle. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see everybody. We are going to have a little shorter version today. I've got a board meeting that I got to get to in um, at about 4 o'clock. So about an hour from now. I'm on the board of a children's home, and once a month we have board meetings. So that's that. We are doing our third edition of the Blue Collar Cruise. I'm going to ask the audience for a special favor. Please let us know if you enjoy this. This was a test. It was kind of like figuring out if you guys want to hear industry news as we dig them up. We put a lot of effort into finding topics and articles out there in the industry of construction that might be interesting to everybody. And if you guys love it, we'll keep doing it. And if not, we will not keep doing it.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So mainly it takes a lot of effort to find interesting topics that are not just, you know, run of the mill stuff and digging through all the websites and the intrawebs to find stuff. So if you guys like the Blue Collar Cruise, please make sure to comment in the chat that you do, and that'll give us an indication on whether we keep this effort rolling forward. So Mr. Jose Gonzalez is with me today out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, with Preferred Flooring. As always, either him or his
Almost.
brother or both of them are on here. And no worries, because they fill in for me when I'm gone. So, and like next week, I won't be here. You
Vacation.
guys will be carrying the show. No, I'm going to a sales training with Milliken down in Georgia. So
Awesome. Got to keep that education going, man. See, look at that.
got
Sales training.
it is a sales training.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, it's you want to keep on the cutting edge and the front line of figuring out how to provide the best for your customers. So that being said, we are going to be talking about several different topics today, but a few of them that are really it's pretty cool. It's as I dig through all this stuff, I always find like similarities in the problems out there, and labor is always an issue. Um, so we're gonna go over some stuff in the elevator world, and explore what they're doing in training. Um, Talk about wage theft on job sites, and a little bit of flooring, the future, flooring focused items. And this actually comes, I believe, from Flooring Focus magazine. And then maybe if we can get to it, I there's a really cool one where Ukraine is printing 3D houses as they recover from the the tragedy, I should say, of the war
Yeah.
over there. I don't care where you land on the political front, that thing shouldn't be happening. Nuclear bombs. This is probably my favorite one. I hope we get to it, but it comes right on the backside of that Ukraine thing, so it's kind of untimely. So I might skip one of these, not to add a lot of bad juju to the conversation, but there are companies utilizing nuclear testing and working on utilizing old nuclear weaponry as excavation tools.
That's
So they're blowing up. We used to use dynamite. Now we're talking about using nuclear weapon, and you can kind of
oh,
just imagine all the concerns and problems around that. So, what's up, Jorge? Good to see you, brother.
I don't
My
understand that.
man. Uh, so comment again as we're getting more people joining. If you like the Blue Collar Cruise, if you want maybe some different content in it, but we as I stated before, put a lot of effort in it, and it takes a lot of time. So we love doing it, but want to make sure it's landing well with the audience. So let us know if you're on YouTube. You know, tell us you like it. You don't.
Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down. Say what you want. What do you want to know about? What do you want to hear about? I mean, that really does help out a ton.
Yeah, we do a
Um,
lot of research. I have other, I mean, there's a lot of people who are involved in just, or I shouldn't say a lot, but several people involved in finding these topics and trying to determine whether or not they are, um, interesting. So let's just jump into the first topic. The headline reads, "How Regulation and Immigration Shape the Future of Elevator Construction." Now, it's kind of funny. Immigration, uh, I maybe plays less of a role in the actual article, but it's talking about the influx of population into other areas, and the fact is we're building up. A few episodes ago of the Blue Collar Cruise, we were talking about that high rise, the tallest
mhm.
building in the nation, going in Oklahoma City, right?
Yep.
That
I remember
means they
I
need,
wasn't there, but I listened to it. I wasn't there, but I listened to it.
yeah, we need elevators, right? And so we're elevator side of the construction industry are really struggling like the rest of us and have significant growth. In fact, their growth is projected to grow 7%, I think, year over year from between the years 2020 and 2030. So, um, we're a quarter of the way through that at this moment, maybe a little bit further, but that's what highlights the urgent need for skilled labor. So I thought one of the interesting topics or parts of this was there's companies that are now integrating uh, virtual reality and augmented reality in the apprenticeship program, so you can come out of these as a low level apprenticeship um, before you ever start working, and that's to attract, people love that stuff. The younger population loves this stuff, and if you can learn through a device in some sort. Look, all of his old folks are like, that's BS, but that's the truth. I mean,
Dang. I'm one
you
of
know what I'm
those
saying?
folks now. I'm one of the old folks now, bro.
I know I'd rather learn hands on too, but I'm just saying, like, my son's plays football, and I guarantee, I tell you, he learned most of the like stuff, the core principles of football from frickin' Madden. So, and
You're
he's an excellent little, freshman football player. So
that's that it builds IQ. You're right, right? I mean, through
it
I
can.
see a lot of benefits through the augmented reality and all that, only because it makes training more convenient, right? Like if you're set up and if it's pretty basic, generic, like on a laptop, you can do majority on a laptop
Yep.
without the augmented reality portion where you're wearing. Because I'm always thinking of like the goggles and you're kind of immersing yourself into that reality. Uh,
Yeah, that's augmented. I mean, you're pretty much there. You don't get to
yeah,
actually touch it and feel it, but you're pretty much there. You know what I mean?
yeah, come a long way since the one thing that Nintendo had back in the day where it was only like red lines. The Mario guy, I forget the name of it, but
Well,
yeah,
this is where I think, we can learn in the flooring world. There's a lot of what we do that could be taught this way.
I think that you're absolutely right, and you can program scenarios into it, right? Like,
Yeah, any scenario you want.
yeah,
So it's that I think that's interesting. We're after reading this, we being in the tech world with Go Carrera, but on the application world with my flooring company, this is really interesting to me. If we could get people trained faster, that's one of our core initiatives with Go Carrera is encourage training to increase hammer rating, to increase job performance. And so, we'll look into it. But these initiatives, they say, are crucial in addressing the skill gap and ensuring a steady supply of qualified workers. And that's what I was just talking about. Getting a steady supply means you got to make it easier, build easier on ramps. Um, that that's what we need to do. So I thought that was real interesting, and the fact of uh, you know construction is still like the outlook for construction is still good. We still have people. We still need businesses and buildings and homes. If you're experiencing, like I am, looking for a new house, you realize the market doesn't have the supply that it used to, and builders are working to increase that supply. But as the industry evolves and continues to evolve, I think we need to think through some of these innovative companies' approach. I mean, seems pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I like it. You mentioned this thing about the elevators, and I can remember as far back as me starting in construction period that there was never enough to begin with. Um, as far as you said, America's building up right now, right? And you need these guys. I'm looking at some of the article right here, and I'm realizing you had to wait like 2 months for these guys to come in and shut it down, or a
Yeah.
month for them to come in, look at the floor, and say you can't touch that, or yep, you can do that one. It's like, okay,
Yeah, and there's a lot of regulation around elevators.
yes,
So, I mean, it's essentially, a personnel carrier. So, uh, there's a lot of regulation around that. And so, getting in, this makes me think about safety and all of these things, and how augmented reality could really double down on that. I could see, you could have a safety course with augmented reality. And I think in those cases, it's almost like, why would you do that in person anyway? It's not like you're going to drop a hammer on someone's, literally on their helmet in a safety training. So everything you're going to learn is intellectual anyway. In OSHA does, and they do it like OSHA 10, OSHA 30 classes, or you do them online. And so why not, add a boost to that through augmented reality? Anyway, it just shows that all of us have the same problems, and we're trying to find creative ideas. And you can clearly see that a lot of people are trying to um, focus on the younger crowd who are very digitally oriented. So
yeah, that doesn't happen to be me. I would say.
yeah. All right. Well, that topic is brought to you through Construction Today. If you want to check it out, we may start leaving links and descriptions in the YouTube channel for you guys to go really dive deep on some of these topics if you like them. So on to the next headline. Well, actually, what do you got on that? Do you think that I mean, you said you like it. Do you think it can be an effective way to train?
I think that it's a more efficient way to get knowledge to an individual or a crew on a specific product or just general broad terms of that line of work before they start. You can program it however you want. You can consolidate the teaching, right? Like even if it's an installer, an old dog, and you're teaching them a new trick, he's going to be able to relate a lot quicker, a lot sooner. Say we have someone who does residential, we're trying to transition over to commercial flooring. You start with the items that they relate to, and then you start peppering in everything else that you need them to understand and know, and you can show them the difference, explain the difference all in one shot. Um, like this, I just picture like I like to listen to podcasts. I like to watch videos on different on how to do different things, like YouTube videos, right? Like DIY stuff. This is no different for me. I know I might be a little bit different than most people, but I would love to learn that way on my own time when my house is quiet and nobody else is bothering me and my phone's not on for work, or I would that would be the time that I would dive right into something like that. Um, and I mean I like to be in a class in person. I do, but I also like my quiet time, and I would absorb a lot more in a more intimate setting like that. I would say, um,
Yeah,
maybe maybe it's something where it's like you
I'd
have a
love to
list.
personally, I'd love to try it out and see, try something like that out and see how it can apply. I mean, I've done some there's a company locally here that did some virtual walkthroughs of a project. So they take your blueprints and turn them into a virtual walkthrough for
Yeah,
owners. And that it felt pretty real. So with the technology, I could see it actually working.
I
It's
think
it's pretty
that's
amazing.
I think that's where I'm hopeful that that's probably where the direction that everything's going to go. Pretty soon you're going to have the literature on installation instructions, accompanied with a QR code that sends you to a augmented or virtual reality, if you will, that will give you a walkthrough on a scenario on a job site, so you can put the words together with the visuals, so you understand exactly what they're talking about. So there's nothing lost in translation.
Mhm.
Terminology is huge, and I was just reading some installation instructions yesterday. I'm trying to help Eduardo out, and it was very open to interpretation, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that I could read that three different times and view it three different ways when all it would take is a picture or a short video to explain exactly what they were trying to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Imagine a product if they had a video that could be streamed to virtual reality, and you went to, you put on a headset and you were able to like see it put in all the angles in the room that you are going to be putting it in.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That's pretty
teaching
cool.
teaching someone how to do a layout, just and then you can whoever's instructing it will talk their way through it, and
Yeah, if you're like, "Hey, the layout starts right here," and it's pretty cool. It's very futuristic in my head, but it's here,
it is. It is. I'm
you
sure
know?
that somebody's working on that. Somebody a lot smarter than me is working on it right now, and I'm jealous.
Well, speaking of, um, labor, our next topic is, talking about wage theft on job sites, and this is both directions. So a quick overview here is about $35 million in 2023 alone was secured for back wages for nearly 18,000 construction workers here in the US. So this wage theft is typically unpaid overtime, failure to pay union dues, misclassification of full-time employees as independent contractors. And we've talked about this a lot, and I'll bet
Yeah,
that's the biggest one. If I'm a guessing man, that's probably the biggest one out of those three. Obviously, this creates challenges for the GCs, and when subcontractors have this problem, and GCs, they're not above everybody. They're just in the first line of payment on projects, but it
yeah,
doesn't necessarily mean they don't do some of these um, problems, or cause some of these problems. And Jorge, by the way, I think it was Otis who built the Willy Wonka chocolate factory elevator. If I'm a guessing man, anyway. Um, so the the wage theft that they're talking about is really from the employee side. at this point. Now, here later in the article, it talks about first off how um, these general contractors become unknowingly liable for these wages ultimately from their subcontractors. So in an effort to stifle that, first thing I would say, mobile timekeeping is a thing, and it's the
Yep.
best way to combat this and keep yourself legal. There's also, I would assume, a good amount of false claims in here uh, where people are saying they weren't paid enough or paid what they think they should be paid or what have you. But the the fact they recovered 35 million bucks is shows pretty substantial uh, mis 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 mismanagement and ultimately really poor leadership in the companies that are doing that kind of thing. So
I've been part of, and Daniel too. We've been part of a couple of different angles on this. As an employee, not 1099, as an employee, I was on projects that, because we don't ask, right? We just go do our job, show up, our paperwork. Been approached by the GC, and he's like, "Are you receiving your prevailing rates?" Like, no idea what you're talking about. So I'm just showing up. He's like, "Well, come with me." And here in Michigan, a lot of the projects, you have to have it posted on a job box. Like, you have to have it, like, they're a little extra in some places. Like, they have everybody's breakdown, the classifications of the disciplines that you're doing, from electrician, plumber to, um, fortunately, flooring is a little weird because we don't always have our own name, right? Like, they'll,
wage determination.
right. So, but yeah, it asked, and all of a sudden it went from, "Hey, boss," they just let you know, like, this guy approached me, and sometimes whether they knew it or not, I don't know, but we had to be compensated for that. They
Yeah,
had to show, when they submitted their, the wages, what do they call it?
certified payroll.
Certified payroll. Yep, they had to do all of that. And then on the other
Yeah,
side, as a 1099, when we were, brand new as Preferred Flooring, we went and did work for a company. They gave us some rates. This is, we're obviously trying to create and generate relationships, and we're, a week or two on this project, and we got approached like, "All right, we need to see your certified payroll." We're like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh yeah, this is prevailing rates. We need to see you." And we called, like, "You guys didn't even tell us. Like, why is there no information on this?" And that goes for the past three projects that we were on there. We're not trying to get anybody in trouble, but at that point we were in trouble. So we ended up having to,
yeah, you got to know that. In fact,
yeah,
every work order that goes out from our company that's prevailing wage, we post it at, if it's going to go to a subcontractor, that it's prevailing wage. They must keep track of all their payments and turn in their certified payroll, and we add the wage determination into the work order as well, so that it's all up and clear. Because
yeah,
really, I don't know how a company could get away with it. I mean, we have to prove, and we do a lot of certified payroll projects, and we have to prove that we're paying the amount or more than, even with subs. I mean, the subcontractor has to make at least the certified payroll amount. So at the end of the day, um, you know, it's really important to know that. Yeah, I at my first employer in flooring, we really got more so, um, our wage theft was just, you didn't get paid at the end of the week, and sometimes hold 5 checks until it would clear. So
yeah. I've been part of that one too.
interestingly, yeah, interestingly, in this conversation here, there's also some that it takes the other side, where 1099 workers are making false claims for wages on projects. So they'll demand, they'll basically say that they haven't been paid when they have, or they had some
Yeah.
other agreement, because there's oftentimes when people are subbing, they don't have any proof, they don't have a contract. There's a lot of flooring companies out there that don't have contracts that they're sub sign. And, like at Stewart and Associates, we have a master subcontract agreement, and then list very clearly in there that every work order you accept through Go Carrera falls under that agreement.
Yeah.
And but there's a lot of companies that don't have that, and that exposes you as a flooring contractor. And if you're subbing it out to people making false claims, and or they'll demand full payment up front, and not show up, and then demand the rest of the contract. But this verbal agreement is the big problem, and you need to put in there quality assurance stuff to prevent
Yeah.
from having to deal with shoddy work, and substandard materials being used. But again, this is, as a general contractor, not me as a general contractor, but the general contractors are exposed here as well.
I see a
So
question from Mr. Kendall there. Why is there a prevailing wage? Is it because the project is government funded? I've heard of the highway workers being paid a prevailing wage on highway projects.
yeah, prevailing wage is really just a governmental act called the Davis-Bacon
They can,
Act.
yeah,
And that was, I think it was 1970 something that act came through, and it's a federal guideline for federal projects or federally funded projects. So it doesn't have
yeah,
to be a job for the federal government, but a federally funded, or and not all federally funded projects have prevailing wage, but most of your true federal government projects is a prevailing wage. And what that does is they set the prevailing wage on a job, meaning you must pay your employees this amount for being on the job for the different classifications. So we've had projects where a tile setter makes everything anywhere from $32 an hour with fringes to $69 an
yeah.
hour with fringes. We were just talking about the elevator guy, and I was looking at a prevailing wage job the other day.
Oh,
They make on this job that we just bid, their prevailing wage is $100 an hour.
ooh, oof, oof.
Just over $100 with all the fringes and benefits. So
And I think the
uh,
highest I've ever seen was 150, and that was for a pipe fitter, right? So,
yeah, pipe
um,
fitters are high up there as well.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, the that's what prevailing wage is, and they do that to make sure that they're the federal tax dollars going to projects is going back into the people's hands.
hmm,
At least this is what they say.
yeah,
Back into the workers' hands, and making
uh-huh.
sure that the government, anybody working on the government's job, that there is nobody unpaid. And so they have sort of certified payroll forms that have to be filled out weekly and submitted, notarized, and sent in. And so it's a whole
And it,
thing.
and it's also so that way when a union comes in and it is part of that project, it's their wages are pretty close to
Well,
what a
they
union.
subsidize.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a deep, deep hole there.
It's
But
always a deep hole. Yeah, I was just talking about
that,
that with
that
some
one's a
people the
deep
other
hole.
day. It's do some research because all it is opinions after you do the research is how you interpret it.
Yeah. So I've got to get going here pretty quick. So I'm gonna spend this
Move on.
last
Let's move
five
on, brother.
minutes talking about the one that is like the craziest one to me. Is the topic reads Project Plowshare, nuclear bombs
Dude.
used as construction tools. So early in the sometime in the 1950s, after the nuclear arms race, or kind of in the midst of it, the Atomic Energy Act launched Project Plowshare, exploring the use of nuclear weapons for large scale earth moving projects. There was a project called Project Chariot aimed to use nuclear blast to create a harbor in Cape Thompson,
To
Alaska.
create a harbor. Holy smokes.
Yeah. This ambitious plan involved
Wow.
detonating multiple thermonuclear bombs to excavate a channel and turning the basin into and turning it into a basin with combined explosives yield significantly. This was crazy. The combined explosive yield significantly greater than that of the Hiroshima bomb. So
I drop
this,
bombs like
yeah. Uh, so there
wow.
was a lot of enthusiasm early on for Project Plowshare and or the initiative Plowshare and Project Chariot, but obviously all these concerns about nuclear fallout, um, harmful effects on distant locations, all these public health concerns sparked widespread criticism from all kinds of scientists uh, who link radioactive fallout to cancer and other
Yeah.
diseases. So obviously, this was probably well before its time back then, but they're kind of looking at, will this work?
Yeah.
They're still kind of looking at this, and the uh, budget cuts and the kind of led to the fall of Project Plowshare. But there were some successes.
Really?
Yeah, like Project Sedan and Gas Buggy, I guess is how it's pronounced. Which
Probably still saying it
it,
wrong, but it sounds cool.
yeah. I'm definitely saying it wrong, but you get you can it's spelled just like it sounds, Gas Buggy. So it's probably said completely different,
Goose
but
boogie.
they did demonstrate the feasibility of using nuclear explosions for gas field expansion. These projects were really, you know, overcame insurmountable, which doesn't make sense if it's insurmountable, but they were surmountable obstacles. And so they did have some success with some things, but ultimately, at the end of the day, this is all kind of fell on deaf ears. I mean, if we're scared of nuclear power plants, I can't imagine us being, as a society, real happy with harnessing the nuclear technology for non-military purposes and earth moving. But I thought it was absolutely a crazy story that I could end on. And
That's absolutely nuts. I'll be honest. Like,
like, think about that, dude. Hey, we're gonna excavate your harbor with nuclear weapons.
what? Yeah, I'm thinking like that, but I'm thinking in terms of, instead of, hey, dude, somebody walked off with our job box today. I don't know where it is. I know I locked it up. Can you imagine? Hey, dude, somebody just yesterday, I don't know, I turned the lights off. All the nuclear bombs are there, but I came in the door this morning. They're gone. I don't know what to do. You want me to call
Yeah,
somebody? Yeah.
the
Oh,
security around that and
man.
everything. Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy. I mean, we've
I,
used TNT dynamite for a lot of years, but
it, Bigger
man, what a
Rollin, I bet
wild
they
thing.
got more than
Yeah, I bet they
$150
did
an
get
hour.
yeah, hazard pay, Roland, probably got him more than 150 bucks an hour for doing
I
that.
think I think what they did is they wrote checks to the families just in case something went wrong. That's who got paid was the families. What is
Well,
pronounced
Kendall
Gatsby?
told me it's pronounced Gatsby. Well, thank you, Kendall, because I couldn't have figured that one out on my own. I appreciate that.
You know what? I'm just more impressed that Kendall knew how to use Google to figure that out. So again, have a
All
hard
right,
time getting
guys.
that dude
Well,
to sign a
hey,
work order on the phone.
I really, oops, I keep going back and forth here.
Yeah,
I
you have a
really
busy day,
appreciate
brother.
everybody. This is going to be as stated right when we got going. Today's going to be a little bit shorter. a lot a bit shorter than normal. We have been going crazy with longer episodes. So this is a nice short one. I do want to mention to everyone that we are that next week we are going to be having the Spanish episode. Hey, check this out. What do you say?
It
Spanish
says,
episode gets free tequila shots and nachos at the CFI convention. Hey, dude, like he's
"Bam."
gonna whose viewership? We're gonna have
Yeah,
to step it up over here. We're gonna
I
have to
know,
give
I know.
some.
Jorge, you're a
Jorge's got
marketing genius.
Jorge's got ideas, bro. That's awesome. All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I know it's a shorter episode. I hope maybe you guys loved it. Please remember, if you're on YouTube or you're watching this live or you catch us on Facebook, let us know if you like the Blue Collar Cruise. I only got through a few topics today, but they
Yeah.
were all pretty cool topics. I enjoyed talking about them. And I love doing this because it really gets us out of just this flooring bubble and makes us think outside the box a little
Mhm.
bit. And so I love it. If you love it, let us know. If you don't love it, let us
Let
know.
us know.
Either way, please do let us know, because one way or another, we would love your guidance on whether or not to continue with the Blue Collar Cruise after our initial 10 episodes that we have planned. So looking forward to next Tuesday. That I won't be here, but I'm still looking forward to it. Jose and Daniel are going to be your hosts next Tuesday. I'll be gone on sales training. And maybe it's just Jose or just Daniel, but one of us
We
will
shall
be on
see.
here. You can depend on us 3 o'clock Central every Tuesday. One way or another, we're going to make it. So next week is the Spanish episode. Hey, Ashlyn, is it in place of, or is it overtime? In place of. All
So,
right. Perfect.
thank you.
So to be honest with you, you're going to get Jorge next week, and that is absolutely fantastic. That dude is a host of the mostest, the hostess that has the mostest. So if you
Mostest
speak Spanish,
ideas.
understand Spanish, or love learning new languages, get on there and transcribe it and learn a new language. But Jorge is going to be the host for next week's huddle, and best of luck to you guys, and have a great day, guys. Everybody out there, love you, appreciate all the
Yeah,
interaction, and
100%.
it's been a blast. So we will catch you guys the Tuesday after next for us, and enjoy next week's Spanish episode.